Imagine you've been waiting for 1.5 years. No concerts, no comeback, no live greetings, nothing but prayers, hope, and a collection of memories you've replayed in your mind every single night. And then, this morning, at a stadium in Yongkyon, South Korea, that scream erupts. Hundreds of people, thousands of eyes, and two figures in green military uniforms stepping out while holding enormous bouquets of flowers, with shy smiles that instantly shatter the heart of anyone who sees them. Yes, Jimin and Jungkook of BTS. They are home, and the internet has never been the same since that very moment. Before we dive into all the chaos and the celebration, let's take a moment to talk about why this moment feels so massive. Not just big, this is history. Park Jimin, born October 13th, 1995, in Busan, South Korea. He joined BTS in 2013, and ever since, the music world has never been the same. Jimin is known as someone who has it all, a voice that cuts straight through the soul, a dance technique that speaks through every single movement, and a stage presence so magnetic that a stadium of 90,000 people feels like he's singing just for you. Outside of BTS, Jimin has long established himself as a world-class solo artist. His album, Face, released in 2023, exploded immediately. The song, Like Crazy, made history as the first K-pop song to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, not through tricks, not through loopholes, but purely through the power of his music and the extraordinary love of ARMY. And speaking of ARMY, the BTS fan community is not just a regular fan base. They are a global movement. Millions of people from nearly every country in the world, connected by one shared love, BTS. They are known for their unmatched loyalty, their remarkable creativity, and their ability to make anything trend worldwide within minutes. So when Jimin, one of the 7 pillars of BTS, announced his mandatory military service in December 2023, the world seemed to hold its breath for a moment. ARMY knew it was time to wait, and they waited with extraordinary faithfulness. On December 12, 2023, BTS's 2 youngest members, Jimin and Jungkook, enlisted together at the same military training center as companion soldiers, meaning they registered simultaneously so they could serve their duty side by side. That decision alone sent waves of emotion around the entire world. They didn't want to be separated. Even in service to their country, they chose to stay together. Both were assigned to the Artillery Brigade of the 5th Infantry Division of the South Korean Army. For a full 18 months, they lived the life of active duty soldiers, far from the cameras, far from the glamorous stages, and of course, far from ARMY. Jimin was stationed in the artillery unit. Jungkook served in the military kitchen. 2 worlds vastly different from their previous lives as global superstars. But they lived it. They served it. They saw it through. And even inside the camp, Jimin never truly forgot his fans. In January 2025, still several months before his service was set to end, Jimin sent a message on Weverse, BTS's fan community platform. The words were simple, but they made millions of people cry. He wrote, "After the new year, the conversations between Jungkook and me before going to sleep have changed a lot. Because the day when we'll be meeting ARMY again is getting closer, we talk a lot about what we need to prepare before meeting them, what we'll show them, and what kind of lives we'll lead in the future." Think about that for a moment. In the middle of a demanding military life, in whatever scarce free time he had, Park Jimin was still thinking about ARMY, still planning for them, still building the dream he wanted to bring to life alongside the people who love him most. No wonder that when the day finally came, the world absolutely exploded. Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. The sun had barely begun to rise on the eastern horizon when thousands of people had already gathered around the military area in Yongkyon, Gyeonggi Province. They came from Seoul, from Busan, from Tokyo, from Jakarta, from Los Angeles, from all over the world, willing to travel incredible distances for one single moment, to welcome Jimin and Jungkook home. Purple dominated everything. Posters, light sticks, banners bearing the names of Jimin and Jungkook. Some ARMY members were already crying before their idols even appeared. Just imagining the moment was already too much to hold back the tears. And then, it happened. A military vehicle came to a stop. The door opened, and 2 figures in green ARMY uniforms stepped down, each holding a large bouquet of flowers. Jimin, Jungkook, shy smiles they couldn't hide, eyes that sparkled even as they looked slightly nervous after 18 months away from the public eye. The army scream tore through the morning air. Both of them stepped toward the crowd, gave a firm and proud salute, then together shouted "Danjyol," a South Korean military phrase meaning unity. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Because that moment was unity between Jimin, Jungkook, and the millions of ARMY who never once stopped loving them across those 18 long months. After the official discharge process inside the camp was completed, Jimin and Jungkook were brought to Yongkyon Public Stadium for a welcoming session with the media and fans gathered there. This was where Jimin spoke in front of a camera for the first time in over a year, and his words instantly moved the entire world. With a voice that was genuine, slightly trembling but full of conviction, Jimin said, "It's been quite a long time since COVID-19 and then the military, so thank you so much for waiting for us. We can continue to paint the vision we've been imagining, and we will prepare and show you a better version of ourselves." And in a deeply touching moment, Jimin also delivered an unexpected message, one about respect for ordinary soldiers who rarely receive recognition. "If you see a soldier walking by, I would be so grateful if you could say a warm word to them." A superstar who had just come back from 18 months of service, and the first thing on his mind was honoring his fellow soldiers. That is Jimin. Now let's talk about what happened on the internet. Because if the word exploded sounds like too much of an exaggeration, trust me, on this particular day, even that word falls short. Within minutes of Jimin and Jungkook appearing at Yongkyon, their names immediately dominated trending on X, formerly Twitter, across dozens of countries simultaneously. South Korea, Indonesia, Brazil, the Philippines, Thailand, the United States, India, all of them. Hashtags like hashtag Jimin is back, hashtag welcome back Jimin, hashtag Jimin and Jungkook discharge, and of course hashtag BTS flew together to the top of global trending charts. TikTok was flooded just the same. Clips of the moment Jimin and Jungkook stepped out of the vehicle, their shy expressions, their Danjyol shout, everything went viral within hours. These videos racked up millions of views, watched over and over by ARMY, who couldn't stop crying and smiling at the same time. YouTube? Exactly the same. HYBE's official channel, Korean news outlets, major K-pop accounts, all of them raced to upload footage of the discharge ceremony. Viewers from around the world spent hours watching, and comments overflowing with love and tears poured into every section. And what made this moment even more extraordinary was the larger context surrounding it. Jimin and Jungkook's return came just one day after RM and V had completed their own military service on June 10, 2025. So within 2 consecutive days, four members of BTS came home, and the internet didn't even have time to finish celebrating one moment before the next one arrived. HYBE, the parent company of Big Hit Music, joined in the celebration in a grand way. Their headquarters in Seoul was decorated with the BTS and ARMY logos along with a phrase that became the anthem for the entire K-pop world at that moment. "We are back." HYBE's stock price soared as well. Global market analysts and investors recorded a significant surge, a concrete testament to the enormous economic impact of BTS returning to the public stage. Among all the chaos, all the trending topics, the views, the emotional tears, there were quiet little moments that sank the deepest into the hearts of fans. When Jimin spoke, he didn't speak like an idol fulfilling a PR obligation. He spoke like someone who had genuinely missed home. And for ARMY, they are that home. He said, "From the COVID-19 pandemic to military service, it's been quite a long time. Thank you for waiting." 2 sentences, but inside them were years of heavy waiting. A pandemic that robbed them of some of the most golden years of their careers. Military service that separated them from the world. And at the end of it all, Jimin still remembered. Still said thank you. Still honored every second of that wait. Jimin also shared a deep reflection about his time in service. Military service was certainly not an easy thing, but I was able to get through the difficulties with the help of the people around me. And what made countless ARMY unable to hold back their tears was learning that even in the middle of a demanding military camp, the conversations between Jimin and Jungkook before they fell asleep were always about the same thing, ARMY. What they would show them, what they would prepare, what kind of life they would live together with their fans. Meanwhile, Jungkook, with his signature honest and endearing personality, said with a small, adorable laugh, "Thank you to everyone who came. It's been so long since I last stood in front of a camera. I'm not even wearing makeup today, so I feel a little embarrassed. I don't know what to say." And that was exactly what made everything so perfectly beautiful. No over-preparation, no polished script. Just two young men who had just finished serving their country, standing in front of thousands of people who love them, completely and utterly as themselves. To truly understand why the world went so wild that day, we need to look at the bigger picture. A picture that had actually been slowly coming together for a long time. BTS has 7 members. And in June 2025, the pieces of that puzzle were finally, one by one, falling back into place. Jin, the oldest member, was the first to complete his military service. He was discharged in June 2024, exactly on BTS's 11th anniversary, in a moment that has already become legendary in K-pop fandom history. J-Hope followed in October 2024. Then on June 10th, 2025, RM and V completed their service in Chuncheon. RM stunning everyone by playing the saxophone as he walked out of the camp, while V spread his iconic smile and held his flowers and made a quiet promise to ARMY. "If you can wait just a little longer, we will come back with something truly amazing." One day later, Jimin and Jungkook. Now there was only one left. Suga, the BTS member who was serving his mandatory service in an alternative social service role due to a long-standing shoulder injury. Scheduled to complete his duty on June 21st, 2025. When that day arrived, for the first time since December 2022, all 7 members of BTS would be free. Whole, complete, and the world was nowhere near ready for that. HYBE CEO Park Ji-won had already given shareholders a glimpse back in March 2025 that the company was working with top-tier music composers for a new BTS album. A world tour schedule was also being mentioned as an active preparation for late 2025. Jimin himself had already dropped the clearest hint of all. When asked about plans going forward, he answered without hesitation, "We can continue to paint the picture we've already been building. We will show something better from now on." That was not just a pleasantry. That was a promise. And if there's one thing everyone who knows Jimin knows, he does not make promises he doesn't intend to keep. For some people who don't fully understand the world of K-pop, all of this might seem like too much. Why are people so emotional just because a singer came home from the military? But for ARMY, and for anyone who has ever truly felt the power of BTS's music, this is not just about a favorite idol coming back. It goes so much deeper than that. BTS is not just a music group. They are companions in loneliness. Their music has accompanied millions of people through the darkest seasons of their lives, through depression, loss, loneliness, anxiety. Songs like Magic Shop, Epiphany, Life Goes On, Spring Day, these are not just chart hits. These are hands reaching out when someone felt like no one wanted to hold theirs. So when Jimin stood in Yongkyon that morning, with his shy smile and his words honest from the heart, he wasn't just greeting fans. He was returning to millions of people who had missed him the way you miss a part of yourself. And ARMY proved exactly who they are. They didn't just flood the welcome venue. They flooded the internet with love. They flooded social media with joyful tears. They flooded the world with proof that the bond between BTS and ARMY is one of the most genuine connections ever formed between an artist and the people who love them. This is not just a fandom. This is a family. Now, the enormous question sitting in everyone's mind is, what comes next? With 6 of BTS's 7 members already discharged and Suga set to follow on June 21st, a full-group BTS comeback is no longer just a dream. It is real. It is happening. The global music industry is already bracing itself. Major record labels around the world are watching closely. International concert tour promoters are already doing the math. Because when BTS makes a comeback as a group, that isn't just a new album. That is a global cultural event. For context, BTS's last world tour, Permission to Dance on Stage, sold out the biggest stadiums on Earth and generated hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Now imagine what happens. After more than 2 years of waiting, after everything they've been through, after a military service that has only cemented their dedication to their country and to their craft, ARMY has been saving up. ARMY has been preparing. And one thing is absolutely certain. When BTS steps onto a stage together for the first time as a complete group, it will be one of the most historic moments in modern music history. But beyond all the numbers and statistics, beyond all the industry predictions and financial projections, there is something far simpler and far more beautiful happening here. 7 people, millions of fans, and a bond that did not break even when tested by a pandemic, by distance, and by 18 months in military uniforms. They are home, and the world is welcoming them back with open arms. Park Jimin once sang, "I'm the one I should love in this world." And perhaps that is exactly why millions of people love him. Because behind every breathtaking performance, there is a purity of honesty, a vulnerability he shares without fear. That morning, in Yongkyon, without makeup, still wearing a military uniform that hadn't quite been folded away, Jimin stood up and said thank you. Thank you to Army. Thank you to his fellow soldiers. Thank you to the time that taught him so much. And Army, from every corner of the world, answered not with words, but with their presence, with screams that split the morning sky, with tears that flowed not from sadness, but from the overwhelming joy of having him back. This is not the end of a story. This is the opening of a new chapter that has been a long, long time coming. BTS is coming back, and the world will never be the same again. So, what do you think, everyone? Did you cry too? Don't be embarrassed. We're all in this together. Loudly crying face purple heart. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for all the latest BTS and K-pop updates. Drop a comment below. Whose discharge moment hit you the hardest? Jimin? Jungkook? Or maybe when RM walked out playing the saxophone? Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next video. Because with Suga still to come on June 21st and BTS's comeback getting closer every day, we are far from done. See you in the next one. Borahi, Purple Heart.